Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, this is Boisterous coming to you with some Diamond League destruction out of the map Antigua. Why do I keep on calling this map Antigua? It's Teltering Altar, guys. It's one of those maps that I should know, because it's rapidly becoming kind of one of those classic maps that's been on the ladder for like 9 months. But for some reason, I always want to call it Antigua. And is my sound off? Or is it just really, really quiet? Oh, it's just really, really quiet. Yeah, let's go with that. Okay. I'm just going to keep going because this is like my 3rd time recording it due to issues like multiple phone calls going off in one, random people messaging me because I forgot to set myself on busy. I definitely forgot to set myself on... Oh, I am on busy. Oh man, go me. I'm on a streak now. Anyway, I should probably do player intros. Spawning up here in the top right hand corner is GeeGeeBabyxo as the red Zerg, and up here in the top left hand corner we have his opponent, the blue Terran ElvisTek. Now ElvisTek is a smurfing diamond player right now, so he's kind of being a dirty smurf that makes everybody want to cry, die a little bit inside. But you know, I'm gonna let him go with it and just see what comes out of it, because I think it might be interesting. I always love smurfing games because occasionally you have the other player just go for some ridiculous strategy, like my personal favorite, like 4 Nidus networks, and then just Nidus swarming their entire base and you can't do anything about it because your units just can't move that fast. And usually people, until they're up at like the Masters, Grandmasters level, just don't have the micro required to split their army into sections that can both deal with Nidus swarms and deal with any potential unit spawns out of those Nidus swarms. So eventually at least one Nidus swarm gets up and gets to a strong position, and then you're just absolutely owned because there's Ultralisks flooding into your base. It's one of the best strategies of all time, no lie. Just do it. 4 Nidus networks, it'll work perfectly. Anyway, we have GeeGeeBabyxo going for the quite standard 15 hatchery on a map like Teltering Altar, which is a very heavy macro map. It's a map that really favors the player that expands first and expands fast. So he's really playing it to that fact. Now ElvisTek is actually not going to be going for any crazy fast expands. He's still going to be going for a faster expand as far as Terrans go. It looks like he wants to go for some sort of gasless FE, and there the SCV is getting sent out. I would be surprised if it wasn't dropping that command center, which it is. So that command center is going to be finished, you know, about a minute after the hatchery finishes, but honestly that difference is it's kind of what you would expect in a TVZ, unless you see somebody go like command center first, which is it's kind of crazy in almost every game, because if the Zerg player does manage to scout early and is going for like a 14 hatch, the Zerg player wins, because you just cannot wall that off fast enough. And Zerglings against Marines without a wall usually win, especially if they're Zerglings that are getting pumped out extremely fast, and especially if they get speed. But you know, that's kind of just interesting factoids. But we do have both players going for a 3rd command center. Kind of in an awkward spot, because this Overlord, when it does go to do its scouting run, is going to run right over that command center, and he is going to see that 3rd command center. We have 2 packs of Zerglings coming out, which is kind of interesting. This is kind of the you want to be able to clean up any Marines that are at the watchtowers without losing any Zerglings force, which is always kind of interesting to see come out. I would also be surprised if he did not send a Zergling down here to capture this Zelnaga tower, because that gives you basically 100% coverage of every attack route out of your opponent's base. Right now he basically has that, because the only way that his opponent could get out is like down here and then down here. Maybe if he snuck really close to the center and managed to avoid these Zerglings. However, we do have the bunker going down. These Zerglings are they're on their way to Valhalla currently. They were brave little soldiers. A little bit of suicidal, but I mean, when you're fighting for Valhalla, it's totally worth it. Valhalla's pretty awesome. We do have the 2 additional barracks going down, so we're going to see kind of a heavy bioplay. It's not going to be any sort of crazy, you know, tank pushes. That's really more indicative of the fact that he still doesn't have any gases, which is kind of unusual. Usually you'd see a Terran player drop at least 1 gas by this point in the game, because without gas, there's not a whole lot you can do as Terran. I mean, you can build Marines. Yeah, you can build Marines. That's it. And granted, as we've all seen in the past, and if you ever go onto the forums, you will notice, like literally without playing StarCraft, Marines are pretty good. They're just not that good, especially in the current metagame of TVZ, where you have Zerg players going for these really strong Infester Ling Bling forces. In the mid game, it just they're actually kind of weak against that kind of formation because the Infestors just lock them down and then everything else kills them. And yeah, that's kind of just how it works. Anyway, we have the double Evo chamber, which is a strategy that I actually favor. It's very nice to get those really heavy upgrades on your Zerglings going off fast. And I'd be surprised to see him go for like roaches. I guess it's a possibility, but they've kind of fallen off in TVZ. But the really awesome thing about going for those fast upgrades on your Zerglings is that it enables this really kind of awkward to defend from the Terran player Ultralisk push. The Terran player, you need to be really, really prepared for it. And by that, I mean like, you need to have almost no Marines. Your army needs to be almost solid Marauders to hold it off, because usually if you do it right, you combine them with Infestors, like Banelings, like a small amount of Banelings, and Zerglings. And with the surround from the Zerglings and the fungal growth, Ultralisks do a lot of damage, which is something that a lot of people don't really count on as much, but it is so true. Ultralisks have actually kind of ridiculous AoE DPSs. They're pretty awesome units. I've been using them a lot lately in every matchup, and I am loving them. I really just can't wait until they get Burrow Charge and Heart of the Swarm, because I feel like that's going to make them much more acceptable. Because currently they're kind of still on the iffy outside. However, I really just think of them as tanky Banelings that don't explode. But once they get that Burrow Charge ability, I feel like they're going to come right up back into the mainstream, because it will just be like Ultralisk Speed was from StarCraft Brood War, where you basically just launch your Ultralisks into attack mode. They would close in the enemy in half a second, and then you would win the game, because Ultralisks are very, very hard to kill. Especially if you go for these kind of fast upgrades yet again, and you get them up to that 5-3 point, Marines just don't do damage. Because if you look at a Marine, it does 6 damage with no attack upgrades. Which means that with full attack upgrades, if an Ultralisk has full armor upgrades, which is 5 armor, and actually I think it's 6, because I think they start with base 1, then your Marines are doing like 3 damage per shot. Granted, Marines still shoot pretty fast, but Ultralisks have 600 health. It's going to take a lot of time for those Marines to kill those Ultralisks. It's pretty ridiculous. Anyway, we have some Banelings coming in. Now, of course, Banelings are quite dangerous units, especially at this stage of the game, especially considering the fact that he's getting a very, very fast centrifugal hooks here. He's also getting his pathogen glands extremely quick, so we are going to see what I said earlier, which was this very popular Infester Ling Bling, not really timing attack, because you usually don't get too offensive with it, but it allows you to expand safely. It allows you to do a lot of other stuff that you wouldn't normally do, just do it a lot safer. Like this third base is going to be safe. He's probably going to expand to a fourth base as soon as these Infestors come out, and it's going to be perfectly safe. The only thing that he's kind of messing up right now is he isn't spreading creep as much as he should be. A lot of Zerg players in the current metagame, you would see their creep spread being out to like here at this point. If we look at the Terran player's base, he's going for the very, very common strategy, which is Siege Tank Marine, which is a strategy that I think we're going to see a rapid decline in it over the next couple months, because honestly it's a strategy that is just no longer as effective as it used to be. Especially with the new tech options that are opening up, with people going for these Ling Bling forces into maybe Ultralisks if they're kind of risky. Ultralisks are really good at breaking tank lines. I know I'm kind of talking about Ultralisks a lot this game, but that's because I don't see them enough. And they're actually really freaking good units in my personal perspective. I know a lot of people are like, they're slow, they're clunky, they're bad, and it's like, just pair them up with Zerglings. Zerglings are fast, they are speedy, they murder stuff. It works really well. Anyway, we have the Siege Tank moving down into a nice position. However, there's just not a lot of Siege Tanks. I mean, he's up to producing them 3 at a time. However, this one's blocked in because it doesn't have any room. Oh, that's always a heartbreaker. Especially because people never notice it. They're always just super confused. But you need space to get units out. You need to have like 2 blocks in between any factory, and or at least on one side of the factory, you need 2 blocks between any factory and anything else. And he's missing a complete factory of production because he can't do anything with it. He needs to probably kill the tech lab on that factory, or maybe kill this reactor. Actually, no. It would probably be best just to kill the tech lab and move the factory altogether, and then maybe build a marine there. We have this attack coming around to the left side, and it looks like he wanted to kill the base here. However, there is no base here, and the SATCOM just went down. However, ElvisTek is going to be smart. He's not going to play it all ballsy, like, oh, like, I'm going to go kill the Zerg force. He's just going to sit there, because he knows that his opponent, if he had vision of this, would have killed it. So this secret expansion is just going to keep doing exactly what he wanted it to do, which is giving the Zerg a false sense of security. The Zerg player may well just stay on 3 bases, which is not what the Zerg player wants to be doing right now. It's like this extra base. And here comes the boss at the front. A lot of the Banelings are going down, but there's just so many of them. And that's a huge hole in the Terran force. However, of course, because there were just so many infestors sitting here and not doing anything for that entire battle, the Terran player actually comes out on top, and he comes out on top pretty well. The Zerg player lost a lot of resources there. A lot. Like, you can't really even describe it. Like twice as many as the Terran player lost, which is kind of what you should be used to at this point. I mean, that's what Zerg players are okay with doing. The issue is that this Zerg player does not know about this third base. He does not know that he's actually on even bases, and his economy is only slightly better. He's about even on gas, and actually the minerals are, he's completely even. He's not even slightly ahead. And that's really something that he needs to know soon, or he's just going to keep doing these suicidal attacks thinking that his economy is so much better, and that, well, eventually if he just keeps flooding units, he will win the game, and then he'll lose the game. And here come these Zerglings, and it's just such a waste of units. Oh my god. Whew. That is a mean units lost tab. Good god, why isn't he doing anything with these infestors too? This is, I'm guessing that the Zerg player is like Silver League and this Terran player is Diamond League, because that's honestly what it looks like to me currently. Just exploiting the fact that, you know, there's not going to be nearly as much knowledge about the map for a Silver player, because he didn't have this Zelmaga and he didn't have a Zergling out at the 4th, which is what most people would do, because Zerglings are very cheap scouting units. But honestly, this push from the Terran player, there's only 5 siege tanks with it, which is really going to be the saving grace for our Zerg player, because 5 siege tanks are still, you can deal with 5 siege tanks. It's not too hard. However, you know, it's still difficult, especially considering the fact that your opponent is on the same amount of bases as you, is on the same amount of bases as you, and he has, you know, very, very competitive construction along with reasonably decent upgrades. Granted, they're still not going to be as good as yours for like another 5 seconds, but as soon as that happens, and here comes that's not what you want to do with those things. I know they look big and they look tanky, but they're not actually that tanky. So he just lost all of his infestors, all of his, actually no, not all of his Zerglings. He sells a ridiculous amount of Zerglings. However, he's going to lose a large amount of them trying just to fight off this, okay, maybe not a large amount. Maybe most of the units are going to get licked up into Metamax. What do I know? Anyway, we have the slowly shambling, infested Terran corners, just not quite doing what they should be doing. And yeah, you know, this is kind of what happens when you try to engage a Terran force like that, because they're on equal upgrades. They're going to absolutely wreck you, especially with only 1 siege tank covering fire, and there were no medevacs above. Bible is just really good, and you cannot engage it without any sort of support unit. And I count support units as like those Banelings, those Investors, those Ultralisks, those Broodlords, anything like that, anything that boosts the base damage of your Zergling army, because the Zergling is kind of like the common infected in Left 4 Dead 2, or Left 4 Dead. They swarm you, and they may do small chunks of damage, but they're not going to kill you. You need some sort of special infected. You need that, you know, smoker, or you need that boomer that will just cause the amount of damage, or the amount of havoc that will end the game. It will end the life. And really with these Zerglings, you just don't have that. Because even if they have adrenal glands and they have all those special upgrades, they're just not comparative. I mean, again, they do a lot of DPS, but honestly, their DPS is at melee range. And if you think about it, only like 1/3 of this army, if it's in a ball formation, can get attacked at melee range. We do have the Infestor getting sniped off there. It did manage to waste the stint in the entire army, which is a lot of energy if you look at how big this bio ball is. However, this is kind of a I mean, he is finally getting those banelings in. He's finally getting the support units in. So he is going to be able to do some level of splash damage. However, this is still a really big bio force. And it kind of has that supporting line of tanks, even though they kind of backed off a little bit. And there's the surrounding. That was a really, really sick engagement for the Zerg player. The Terran player was not actually engaging any of the Zerg forces there. He was just trying to snipe off the hatchery, which was kind of a misstep. But even then, I mean, you still lose a lot of resources if you're going with banelings like that. They're pretty cost efficient. They're not awful, but they're still not the best units in the game for going up against something like that. He's going... GeeGeeBabyxo. When your opponent has this many Marines, typically not the spot where you go mutants, especially if they're supported by an equal amount of medevacs. Because medevacs heal really fast, and mutalisks don't do a whole ton of damage. Their only real asset is the fact that they take out tanks quite rapidly. They're actually very good at killing tanks. However, if a tank has a platoon of supporting Marines, we're going to see what happens in just a second here. Actually, maybe not. Maybe those banelings are scary, and indeed they are. Alright, that wasn't that bad of an engagement for the Zerg player, I guess. But really, I kind of attribute that to the fact that there was creep for the Zerg player there. And I still think this was not a good tech choice, because now he's just going to completely swap off making Marauders, because he knows that Marauders aren't really needed anymore. Because Marauders aren't needed against a whole lot of different Zerg units. There's kind of only a couple. And with good micro, and being not on creep, you can actually do... Oh god. Oh, I thought these Zerg units were going to run off creep, which would have been a bad decision. However, he definitely needs banelings at this stage of the game. I'm not sure what his plan is, because he's not building banelings. He's getting that Greater Spire out. That Greater Spire is not going to be out nearly in time to deal with this little tiny platoon of Marines. And honestly, if this base goes down, he's down to no... actually, wait, no, he took fourth. Never mind. However, ElvisTek is doing pretty good himself. He has his fourth base up. It's a planetary fortress. He still isn't taking this expansion, which I find odd. I think he should just take his fifth there and be done with it. Or maybe even lift off his main orbital, float it down there, land it, and just start mining. Because honestly, if you can do that as a Terran player, just do it. I don't understand why people don't do that. It's faster probably because now he's just building a fresh command center, and it's like, what? Why? You have a perfectly good one both here, which I guess it does have gas, which is, I guess the gas is kind of important, but I don't know. I do not know. Anyway, we had an engagement there that I kind of just completely missed. However, it was just a lot of banelings running in, a lot of Marines dying, but not enough Marines to scare the mutable off, because mutables get scared off by any amount of Marines ever, as you can see right here. They just don't have the DPS required to fight off medevacs, because medevacs heal really, really freaking fast. And Marines deal damage actually really, really freaking fast too, but it's really, it's the medevac healing that absolutely destroys him. And if you look at the units lost tab, our Zerg player is just not doing what he needs to do, which is be cost efficient. He's 7,000 resources in the hole above our Terran player, which is kind of nasty. That's not exactly where you want to be, especially as a Zerg player on an inferior amount of bases currently. Or at least an inferior amount of bases for another short amount of time. Because if you look at our Terran player, he has 1, 2, 3 mining bases. Our Zerg player almost has their third mining base back up, but it's not quite there. And that's kind of awkward. It's not... that's pretty awkward. Anyway, we have our 9 corruptors on this one. We're going to see GeeGeeBabyxo pretty soon. A lot of mutalisks, again, I think the Zerg player just really wants his units to get a good chance of Valhalla, so he's just randomly sending them in to try to kill everything and anything. And then when they fail, their spirits continue on, and they're in a better place. I don't know what to say. I don't... there's so many Thors now. Oh my god, when people saw this change over Freelords coming, they just started building Thors. Because Thors, although they aren't that great against Freelords, they're good until you get Viking production. Which is honestly what I'm surprised ElvisTek hasn't really started yet. He should probably just, switch out these barracks that... Oh god, the Thor. Poor little Thor gets stuck in places. Very annoying. Anyway, we have this group of needles trying to kill the engineering though, but there's just too many SCVs, and we didn't snipe them off fast enough. And there goes the last SCV into the hole, which is not really where you want an SCV to be. We have nine broodlords on the way. However, there's not a huge ground army to support them. And there's no infestors at all to support them, and there's also no corruptors at all to support them. So literally, one Viking could put a timer on every one of these broodlords. One Viking, even right now, like literally, if you just sent a Viking over, the timer would be started on these broodlords. I guess he could produce some sort of corruptor defense to fight off that one Viking. However, honestly, I think Viking production really just needs to get started. And the information for these broodlords is hitting like right now. He knows they're there, and there's not enough zerglings to fight off this army. There goes 5 of the broodlords. Okay, yeah, 5 of the broodlords have gone down, and all of these zerglings are down and out. The marines are just running forward and sniping off the rest of the broodlords, and there goes the last broodlord. And GeeGeeBaby leaves the game without a GG. So maybe he just thought his name would say it all. You know, maybe that's his way of being manners. Like when it says has left the game, it's just GeeGeeBabyxo. What's up? It's actually not a bad idea. I might do that with my next username. Probably won't. I like Boisterous. Anyway, guys, if you want any other Boisterous action, you can head on over to youtube.com/user/boisteroussc2. Also, if you want your games commentated, you can send them on in to boisteroussc2@gmail.com. Also, remember to check out the sc2clans.org team league, which me and Kadoink are casting the championship division on, which should be wrapping up on the 22nd, which is like this weekend. Yeah, I think that's right. That sounds right to me. Actually, wait, no, that would be this Sunday, which still sounds right to me. So I'm going to go with that. However, if that's completely incorrect, it'll be like in all caps in the description of this video. So just look down. Just look down a little bit. Anyway, guys, this is Boisterous signing out.